Welcome back to another episode of Money, Mindset, and Manicures podcast. I am so excited that you are here. I have been reading your reviews. I have been seeing your Instagram posts, and I am just so in my feels with everything that I've been reading. You babes are absolutely incredible. So I just want to say that I'm so excited for what's to come on this podcast. And if you are listening right now, and if you have not left yet a review, I ask you to please leave me a review if you tune into this podcast and take something away from it and you like it, because being a new podcast, reviews are key to getting us to show up on the searches. And to sweeten the deal a little bit, I am giving away 3 $100 Visa gift cards in episodes 5, 6, and 7. So I'm giving away 1 Visa gift card per episode coming up. And all you have to do to enter to win that is to leave a review. Take a screenshot of that review, post it to Instagram stories, and make sure that you tag Money, Mindset, and Manicures, and also my personal Instagram account. I am Samantha Kazuch, so I can see it and I can enter you into the drawing. So that's over the next 3 episodes, episodes 5, 6, and 7. You'll have to tune in and listen to see who the winner is. But I invite you to leave me a review, and I'm so thankful and grateful that you are listening here today. So let's dive into today's episode because this is a good one. It's a juicy one. And I know 100% you will get at least 1, maybe 2, maybe even 5 or more tangible things that you can literally take away and start implementing into your life today. If I was to start all over again with really becoming that girl, or stepping into my higher self, or really getting on the path to manifesting and living the life that I desire or that I've been dreaming of for so long, this is what I would do. And mind you, babes, whether you're at the beginning of your journey or maybe you have already been in the self-development space for a long time, I know that you're going to take something away from this, and it's literally going to change your life, because every single thing that I'm going to share with you today in some way, shape, or form either changed my life or created a reaction to make other things change in my life, which I was not expecting. So I'm going to get straight into it. So if you are driving right now, you might want to reflect and pause and really take notes on this stuff. Or if you're maybe on a walk, get your phone out and take some notes, because this one is going to be so deep and so good that I know you definitely want to remember these. So the first thing that I would do right now, if I was to start all over again, is to make a serious decision that I want to change my life. Because if you don't make that decision, it's really hard to really start taking action on something like that. So the way that you do that is, 1, you make the decision, I'm sick and tired of this life, or I'm sick and tired of X, Y, and Z that's happening. That's no longer serving me. I no longer want anything to do with that. And instead, I want you to start visualizing exactly the woman that you want to become. So this is, again, talking kind of about your higher self, your future self. Who is that woman? Journal it out. Create a vision board. The life design process inside the manuscripting journal is the perfect step-by-step question process for you to go through and actually answer those questions. Because as you are writing it out and journaling out exactly who you want to be, how do you want to show up as? What do you want to kind of like look like, as far as how do you want to dress? How do you want to do your hair? How do you want to do your makeup? How do you act? How do you talk? How do people feel around you? Getting super specific about every single detail allows you to then start stepping into yourself and start really being able to exude those things. And I know when you start just changing things about yourself, it can be scary, right? Because you might start thinking like, oh my gosh, well, if I'm going from like dressing like this to now dressing up more, people will start commenting, and they will. I remember when I did this not too long ago, when I really just started dressing up for every single occasion. Like no matter if it was brunch or a dinner or going to some sort of workout class, I really put myself together, not like to the glam and the nines like every single time, but I made an effort to look good. And I started getting compliments. Sometimes it was like, oh my gosh, why are you so dressed up? To, oh my gosh, I love your outfit. Where did you get it? I started getting all these comments all the time. Some good and triggering, especially when it's like, why are you so dressed up? Like, what are you doing? But for me, it was more so with feeling good in my body. I know that for me personally, when I put myself together, when I got dressed up, I felt good. I felt like that girl. Like I was like, I'm that girl on the Instagram that like I see that's like walking through town and you look so good and you're feeling good and you have that confidence and all of that. So really getting clear on who it is that you want to become, that is the first and biggest step. If you are not doing that first, the rest of these steps are really hard because a lot of them come from who you want this woman to be. Are you the woman that gets up early in the morning and journals and meditates? Are you the girl that goes to the gym every single day? Are you the one that gets nicely dressed up to go to the office? Are you the one that is creating really delicious, yummy meals and not just eating fast food or these quick microwave meals, right? So when you get super clear on that woman, that's when you can start taking action from that place of thinking whenever you go to do something like that you are not sure you want to do, you could be like, well, is this what my higher self would want? And it's a quick like yes or no question. And that's how you can kind of really start changing your life. Number 2, this was the biggest game changer for me because when you are changing your life, you need to reprogram your mindset because who you are today is a combination of all the feelings, all the thoughts, all the actions that you've taken in your life. That is who you are today. So if you don't like who you are today, you need to change something today about stepping into tomorrow. And one of the biggest things with reprogramming your mind is taking inventory of actually what's coming into your ears, right? That's first, because reprogramming the thoughts, it's easier to do that when you're listening to things, right? If you're constantly listening to negative news or negative people and complaining and all that sort of stuff, what are you going to start doing? You're going to start doing those same things. You're going to live in that negative mindset because that's what you're taking in. So the first thing that I really started doing is instead of listening to music in the car, and I'm sure 99% of you drive somewhere. And if you don't, I know you're walking or taking transit like buses and stuff like that. And you're probably listening to something at some point throughout the day. But what I started doing instead of listening to music, because I also believe that in certain times and cases, we use music to numb out. We use it to distract us from what we're currently feeling, from what we're currently thinking, so we can jam out, sing songs. And by the way, if you think about it, if you're listening to really popular music right now, like I don't listen to popular music because listen to the words. A lot of the words, especially in different genres of music, they're not positive. They're negative. They're just not empowering. And when you're singing these lyrics over and over and over, and there's like studies and proof with even the hertz of the type of music, it's lowering your vibration. Even though you might feel good singing the song, it's actually programming you in the opposite direction. So by picking podcasts for me to listen to really started getting me in the mindset of that higher self. So I would rotate between what I was feeling, just like you do with music. You pick a song because you're feeling in a certain mood. I do the same thing with podcasts. So I have a bunch of podcasts that I'm subscribed to. Some days when I'm driving, I want to listen to something about business because I'm in the mindset to learn, like give me some tangible steps that I can incorporate into manuscripting. Or there are days that I just want to be inspired and just learn about life or just something that's not super business focused. So I'll listen to different podcasts depending on what I am feeling. But I would always listen to podcasts. And that was a game changer because that was, as I'm driving, you're doing something that you're doing all the time. You're reprogramming your subconscious mind and your mindset. Because at the end of the day, you are the DJ of your life, okay? So just think about it. Think about what you're programming in, what you're listening to, and I guarantee you when you start plugging in pieces of inspiring content and podcasts and stuff like that throughout your day, it's 100% going to help you change, evolve, and grow. Are you a woman with dreams of unleashing your full potential, but you feel there is something holding you back? I want to introduce you to the Manuscripting Journal, the #1 selling manifestation and goal-setting journal designed exclusively for empowering women just like you to uplevel and change your life. This journal is your personal guide to manifesting your dreams and unlocking your true potential. Inside its beautifully curated pages, you'll discover powerful daily journaling entries, workbooks, and exercises to set goals, plan your dreams, and manifest the life you deserve. It also offers an online community of like-minded women on the same path as you, which includes free masterclasses and support to help you during this transformation, so you are not alone. Say goodbye to overwhelm and hello to clarity. With the Manuscripting Journal, you'll develop a positive mindset, nurture self-love, and create a roadmap for success. Join the thousands of women who have already embraced the power of manifestation and changed their lives with the Manuscripting Journal. Take the first steps towards a life filled with purpose and joy. Visit manuscripting.com today and embark on a transformative journey by ordering the journal. And as a podcast subscriber, enjoy a special 20% discount on your first journal order at manuscripting.com by using the code podcast. Empower yourself and script your dreams into reality with the Manuscripting Journal, because you deserve to create and manifest a life that you're obsessed with. See show notes for details. Number 3, and this is kind of a no-brainer because I am the founder of the Manuscripting Journal, but I would 100% start my day with journaling. And I know a lot of you probably have really big mornings, like maybe you have kids or you have a job to get to and you have pets and cats and dogs and partners and all this sort of stuff going on, but really carving out at least 10 minutes. This doesn't need to be an hour-long process by any means. At least 10 minutes to just journal your thoughts. Because those thoughts that you start with at the beginning of the day carry into everything that you do. So if you're waking up depressed or anxious or not excited about life and you just kind of hold that in and carry that into your day, it's extremely hard to get motivated. But if you can wake up and journal, and even if the journaling isn't positive, it's just getting your feelings out on paper, how you feel. You're taking it out of your body, out of your mind, and onto the paper. It's extremely therapeutic. And of course, you may not see results instantly with this life-changing energy shift of going from like sad or depressed to really happy and excited just by doing that. Over time, you will start learning and seeing, oh, instead of these sad thoughts, they're going to start turning into gratitude. And then you'll start writing down things that you're actually excited about. But it cannot begin to even happen if you are not aware of those thoughts. Because a lot of times when we are stuck in these loops of being really sad or depressed or anxious, right? Those become comfortable. And when you become comfortable, and that's the really crazy thing about our ego and our bodies and our minds, it will get comfortable with whatever you give it, whether it's good or bad. So when you get really comfortable with being in that state, whether you're depressed or just not motivated or unhappy or anxious or sad or any of those other lower level emotions, the body will get comfortable with that and it will keep you in it until you do like a drastic change to snap yourself out of it. So journaling is key. And if you need a good journaling system, of course, I'm going to recommend the Manuscripting Journal because it's literally changed thousands of women's lives, including my own. That's literally why I created it. I've been using this process for over 8 years now, and it is just really powerful. It's guided and it's super simple to just open it up every morning, plug in everything that you're feeling, and then you go on with your day. So it's super, super great. And then I add on to that, of course, meditation, right? Now I know if you have not meditated before, meditating, yes, it's hard. Most people have an aversion to it. I don't want to do it. I've actually in the past, and actually very recently, I was speaking with someone and they didn't know that I had the Manuscripting Journal as a business. And when I told them that every morning I journal and meditate, they laughed in my face. I'm like, bro, are you living under a rock? Have you not heard about how powerful this is? But they laughed at me. They're like, like journaling, meditating? God, like why? Why do you do that? That's so, they didn't say that was so stupid, but their tone, I don't remember the verbiage they used, but their tone was very condescending and just very like, what is wrong with me that I have to do that every day? It was crazy. But I know that meditating is hard. There are lots of days that I do not want to meditate. But the more that I feel that I don't want to meditate, that means, guess what I have to do? I really have to meditate that day. So the best way that I recommend starting if you are new to it is start with guided meditations. Get one on Spotify or even YouTube. You can just literally search 5-minute guided meditation. And what I say to that after seeing all the results is go with your intuition. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. Click it, press play, close your eyes, sit down, and just go through it. And I promise you, it is a beautiful experience. It might feel uncomfortable at first. It's hard at first. You feel like your brain's just running around with thoughts and ideas and all the things, but just lean into it. And the more often you do it, the better you will get at it, just like anything else. So highly recommend pairing that with your journaling, of course. Then the next thing that I started doing, and this was honestly, I'm just going to admit it, this was really easy for me because I was an athlete my entire life. So working out and moving my body has always been a no-brainer. But there are lots of days and weeks that I either don't feel like doing it, I'm too tired to do it, and I'm just not motivated. But moving my body for at least 30 minutes every single day is key. And you must do this. Because even if it's just going for a walk, doing a at-home Pilates class, which by the way, on YouTube, there are plenty of free workouts. So there's no excuses here. Or going to the gym for like a 60 or 90 minute weight training session. I always make sure that I move my body. Why is that? Our bodies, we are 99.99999% energy. That's what we are. We're not like a physical matter. We are all made up of atoms and energy and particles, and that's what puts us together. And if we are not moving our bodies, our energy becomes very stagnant. And when you become stagnant, that's when nothing happens, right? Like when you're feeling just like lazy and depressed and comfortable, right? We're just like, ugh, right? So how do you shift that energy? Energy doesn't come and go. It merely just really changes states, okay? It's not created nor destroyed. Now I know this because I used to take a lot of science classes back in the day, but it's not created nor destroyed. We just have to shift states. So when you're feeling just like, ugh, or you're feeling tired or exhausted, well, one, honor your body. But if it's from a place of just feeling like you shouldn't be tired, you're just feeling energetically drained or something like that, go outside, go for a walk. Walk around your house. If you have stairs, go up and down the stairs a few times. Get that energy moving. Once you get that energy moving, you're going to feel better. And maybe if it's not just instantly after that one workout, that one day, doing a combination of days, you're going to see improvement, which then leads to so many other things, right? If you start working out, you're going to start taking better actions on eating better. You're probably going to sleep better. You're going to feel better. It's just a cascade of events that happen after that that is so powerful. So if you do not do anything like that yet, or if you feel you're too busy, please, I encourage you heavily to start putting some movement into your day. Now, the next one I'm going to go into is really getting clear on your goals. So just like at the beginning of this podcast, I talked about visualizing and figuring out who that woman is that you want to become. This one's a little bit more tangible, and you break it down more so for maybe your business or career or your health goals or your financial goals. I would pick an area where you can get super clear and start focusing on that for the next coming weeks and months. Now, I would highly recommend creating a large goal, but then chunking it down into smaller goals. Because what I found is I know that I'm a big dreamer. I'm really fucking delusional actually with my goals and dreams. And it's just kind of crazy that they just end up coming true and manifesting. But this is how and why. I set really big goals for me. So whether you want to set a big goal, small goal, it doesn't matter. Set that goal. but then chunk it down into more achievable parts. So that means I look at, what do I need to do daily to accomplish this goal? What do I need to do weekly? Or what do I need to make sure happens weekly that I accomplish this goal? What then has to happen monthly to accomplish this goal? What has to happen quarterly and then yearly? And having this big goal chunked down makes it less overwhelming. And when it's less overwhelming, it's more attainable. And if I can attain that piece of the goal every week, every day, every month, every quarter, that's what helps me stay on track. Because there's nothing worse than, say you want to make, $100,000, or maybe you want to lose 50 pounds. And then you're just looking at the scale, or you're looking at your bank account and you're just seeing, money trickle in slowly, or you're seeing pounds drop off slowly, like 1 pound a week, if even, or something like that. Setting that big goal can seem very overwhelming and discouraging because you feel like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm ever going to hit 50 pounds, or there's no way I'm ever going to make that 100K in my business. But by chunking it down and saying, you know what, this week, I'm just going to work out every single day. And by the end of the week, I forget what the average healthy pound lossage you should have. But say if it's just like, I want to lose 1 pound a week, that would be great. And then if you lose that 1 pound a week, that makes you excited to do the next week and the next week and the next week. And same with income and money. Say you're an entrepreneur and you're wanting to call in more clients. Start with seeing, okay, how many leads can I get this week? How many clients can I get this week? Realistically, sometimes it's just the one. Maybe it's like 3 leads and one of those converts into a paying client, or what have you, depending on your business. But you see what I'm saying? By just chunking down those goals, make them attainable, because then once you hit that mini goal, that's what makes you excited to keep going. That is something that I would immediately start doing. The next thing, and now I'm just starting to lose count of where I'm at as far as numbers go, but we're just going to keep saying next thing, next thing, next thing. So the next one is I created a weekly mastermind group with 2 other women. Now, every single week, this is one of the coolest things that I did, and it has been so beneficial. I set up a weekly call, or I think we set up, this was a joint decision to do, set up a call with 2 women who are now like my bestest friends that I met in a mastermind 3 years ago, because we've been doing this call now for 3 years. Every single week we have a call where we check in with each other. We each get about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe more depending on what's going on, but we limit this call to 1 hour. And each of us we go around and we talk about anything that we're struggling with right now, anything that's been going on in our life, in our business, it's really just like this beautiful accountability / support call. And then once each of us has our turn, the other 2 then chime in with feedback. Like if it's me getting on this call and asking for help, then, the 2 other women will give me feedback on like, oh, well, I would do this. And this is a really great idea. Or, oh my gosh, you should connect with this person, blah, blah, blah. It's the most epic weekly call that I have, and I highly recommend it. And I met these 2 women. One of them I met in the mastermind. It was a business mastermind. And then the other one, I was friends with her before that mastermind, but she also was in that mastermind. So that's how we met. And we've been doing these calls for 3 years now, and it has been an absolute game changer. And I 100% believe and know, you need to have some sort of support group, especially if you don't have friends that you can talk to, family members, anything like that. I highly recommend finding a couple girls that you can have a weekly call with, that you also respect their advice, and maybe they're doing something in their life that you really love and you're proud of them, and you are inspired by them and they're inspired by you. And this is a very mutual decision. I've been also, by the way, asked to do this type of call with other people, and it's been a flat out no, because 1, I don't trust their advice, or I just don't, I don't care to have those conversations with those types of people. So you have to, be very careful. You don't kind of have these calls with just anyone, but when it works, it is beautiful, and it is something that I definitely highly recommend. I just briefly want to interrupt this episode so I can announce our $100 Visa gift card giveaway winner. This is our third and final gift card for this giveaway round, and that doesn't mean we're never going to do giveaways again. We definitely will be. So stay tuned to upcoming episodes for your chance to win. But I just want to say thank you to everyone that has left a review, that has shared these episodes on social media. I love reading your reviews. I love reading your takeaways and all the messages that you've sent over, like truly, because starting recording Money Mindset and Manicures podcast was actually really scary for me. I'm going to be honest. It was scary. It's a different platform. And even though I've been on social media for what feels like a million years, this was a completely different platform. And to be welcomed into this space with such great feedback, and for you girls to be so excited about listening to the episodes and getting so much from them, it just brings me so much joy. So I just want to thank you so much. And if you haven't left a review yet, please take a few minutes after this podcast, leave a review. It helps so much, especially since this is such a new podcast. Every review helps. Every time you share on social media helps so much. And I'm so grateful for all of you that have done that so far. So this week's winner is Alegna Smith. And I know I'm butchering your name, but I'm just reading it off of the podcast reviews. It's Alegna Smith. That's Alegna Smith. And I'm going to read you her review because, just thank you. Thank you so much. So her review reads, I just discovered Samantha's podcast and I'm already hooked on every episode. Her discussions really motivate and inspire my mindset, and I've been telling my friends all about them. Thank you for creating such an inspiring podcast. So thank you. Thank you so much. Please send me a DM on the Money, Mindset, and Manicures podcast Instagram or my personal Instagram, which is I am Samantha Kazuch, and we will make sure to get that gift card sent out to you. So thank you again, and let's get back to the episode. Which leads me into my next point of, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. Let me repeat that again. If it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. Now this goes for anything and everything in my life now. If you are wishy-washy with the universe, with your decisions, it's going to be wishy-washy with you. Now imagine if the universe was wishy-washy with you in this example. Say the universe came to you and it's like waving $100,000 in your face. And it's like, maybe you're going to get it, but maybe you're not. I don't know. We shall see. Like next week, maybe I'll decide to give it to you, but you know what? Maybe not. And next week rolls around and the universe is like, no, not yet. That sucks, right? You're being teased by the universe with this thing that you really want. Or maybe it's a thing that you don't want. So the universe is always listening. It is always listening to your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors. It's your energy. So if you get asked to do something and intuitively, and this may be, you might have a strong intuition right now. You might not be tapped into your intuition at all, and that's okay. But I want you to start learning and listening to your body and its reactions. Someone asks you to do something and you're just like, oh God, no, I don't want to do that. But you say, yeah, sure, of course. That is so contradicting with your energy. It's not going to be good. So I want you to start practicing this. If it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. And stay in that confidence. And don't be afraid of people, ridiculing you for it. Who cares what they think, right? But you have to stay in your truth. Because as you are stepping into becoming that woman, I'm pretty sure that woman for you is confident as hell. She knows what she wants. She's not going to take no shit from anyone, right? So start infusing that into your actions and into your responses to things that come up for you. Now, there are things in your life that, stuff in maybe your business or your day-to-day, which are tasks that are mundane. You have to do them over and over. That's just the stuff you have to do, right? There are always going to be those things. I'm talking about someone comes to you, invites you to something, or you get offered something. If you're not excited about it, don't do it. Okay? because that's that wishy-washy behavior. It's literally one thing that you can start practicing today. And I see these types of reels and trends on social media all the time. It's that reel where the guy asks the girl, what does she want for dinner? And she's like, I don't know. No, instead of saying, I don't know, you do fucking know. You do know. You just don't want to make a decision. Don't make it so hard on yourself. So practice in these little tiny experiences, like figuring out what you want for dinner. There's no wrong answer. Just say it. Start being decisive. And once you start being decisive, the universe is going to work in really magical ways. Now, moving into the next one, this one is all about books and reading. So when you are on this transformational journey, of course, education is so key. And just like I talked about earlier with listening to podcasts in the car, I didn't mention that sometimes I listen to an Audible book while driving as well, especially when I have like a really long drive and I just want to dive into a book. I highly, highly recommend it if you are not a reader. Now, for me, I learned very quickly last year that for me, if I got the physical book, it would take me months to get through it. And also when I read, I have a really hard time kind of digesting that type of information. I am very much an audible learner and a visual learner. So I like to either see things and see things with sound happening. So for me, I have been crushing books on Audible. Like I read a book probably like every 2 to 3 weeks, or I listen to a book every 2 to 3 weeks. I'm retaining the same information. And there have been studies shown that whether you listen or you read to a book, you just have to find what works for you, because both ways you retain the same amount of information. So don't feel like being force yourself into reading a physical book if you won't read, because there's such great information in so many books that it's just really sad if you're missing out on it just because you don't like the type of media that it is on. Now, I'm going to recommend 2 books to you that have literally changed my life. I've read both of these in the last 6 months, and they were absolute game changers. I have a full-on book list. It's inside the Marriage Scripting Journal, but these 2 stuck out to me, and I recommend them all the time. And the first one is The Surrender Experiment, and the second one is Outwitting the Devil. Both of those books, I'm not going to dive into details, but oh my gosh, let me know if you've read them. And if you haven't, I highly recommend to order them immediately. I promise you, you will not regret it. The next thing that I did that I wish that I did way sooner in my life, and I'm actually really pissed off that as a woman, I was not taught this in school, that I was not taught this growing up, and that is working with my cycle. With my cycle, meaning my period. Now, what I mean by that is, as women who have our periods, we go through 4 different hormonal stages throughout the month, which you can basically say we are a different type of woman 4 times. Like we have 4 different types of women throughout the month. And when I learned about cycling by working out with my cycle, working with my cycle every single week, and I have it marked in my calendar with what phase I am in of my cycle. For example, when I'm on my period, I'm not doing interviews. I'm not putting myself out there. I'm not speaking on stages. I'm trying to limit social events, and I plan everything around that to not have to be somewhere or do something, because I want to honor my time of my flow. Or when it's the week, 2 weeks after my period, that is my phase of doing all the things. I'm recording podcasts, I'm going out, I'm shining, and then the other 2 weeks in between are different seasons. So if you don't know more about this, this can be a whole freaking episode, but I just want you to know, if you are not aware of doing this with your cycle, I 100% highly recommend looking into it. I'll probably do an episode just strictly on this, because it is the most powerful thing I have ever done. And I am really sad that majority of women don't know this, and we are taught to work through our period and not honor our feelings because we want to be not more like men, but we want to keep up with men and we want to keep up with things going on in society. But the second you start really tuning in to where you are at, I promise you, you're going to be more successful. You're going to be more energetic. You're going to be able to really accomplish more because you're working with your hormones instead of against them. So again, highly recommend looking more into that and stay tuned for an upcoming episode to come. One of the favorite things that I started doing was adding luxury into my life. Now, saying this, I'm not saying I need to go out and spend tons of money on things all the time. In fact, I started doing this more when I was just more broke because I have a very bougie, luxury, expensive taste. And at the time, I was just not making very much money, or I just didn't have the money to spend on the things that I really wanted. But I added a lot of luxury into my life by doing really simple things. For example, taking care of my bed, having really nice bed sheets, and having a really clean room. I would organize my bathroom in a way where when I walk in, it's like you're walking into a beautiful, like hotel luxury resort kind of suite. I would have my closet organized. I would, instead of buying lots of inexpensive handbags or shoes, like, so for me, I love investing in quality pieces. So for me, that's bags. That's the one item that I know I can always keep cleaned. For example, for me, shoes, not so much. I feel like I go through shoes so quickly and I just trash them. I don't even know what happens to them half the time. But for me, staple pieces like a luxury bag, that's my go-to. So instead of spending money on lots of little bags that are cheap, I would instead invest in a quality piece, and I would get them in different colors and really be able to match them with all my outfits all the time. Another thing that I would do is really focus on anywhere that I feel a room is not feeling high vibe. I would look at it and see what is wrong with it. What do I not like about it? Like, we recently just moved to Austin, Texas, and we brought our old couch with us. And the pillows on that couch, it's like the little decorative pillows. We've had them for like 3 years and they're just not a vibe anymore. I look at them and I just feel disgusted. So instead of buying a whole new couch, I just bought new pillowcases, and it's completely transformed the vibe of the living room. So I do that in pockets throughout the house. You can do it in your house, and like if you go to an office and you just want to spruce it up, but creating a vibe in every area of your life. And bringing in that luxury. Like, if luxury is your vibe, I know that's not everybody's vibe, but bringing in that vibe to make you feel good when you step into that room and remove things that don't feel good, that is 100% key to becoming that woman. One of the last things that I want to share with you, and there are quite a few more things, but the one last tangible step that I want you to really think about is to add more fun into your life. And also keep in mind the people that you are doing it with and how you are feeling leaving those situations. Now, I know that when you are setting goals and becoming super strict with your routine, all that sort of stuff, it can get very regimented and it can turn into a very masculine type of energy. But remember, we have both masculine and feminine energy, and we want to, I don't want to ever use the word balance. There's no such thing as balance in life, but we want to be in this epic flow of both. So that's why when you're doing the workouts and you're working on your goals and you're doing this and doing that and doing, that's a very masculine energy. So bring back fun into your life. That's the feminine energy. That's the creative energy. So whether you want to go out and dance, for me right now, it's summertime in Austin. I love going out wake surfing. Actually, right after filming this episode, I'm going out on the boat and we're going wake surfing today, which I'm very excited about. That's my fun. And I do lots of other things where I'm getting out of work mode and having fun with my friends. And I'm really conscious of how I'm feeling with those friends. Now, if you are the type right now that you love to go out and get drunk on the weekends, or if you love to go out and that's what you find fun, or every single night you're coming home because you've had a long day and you're just numbing out with watching TV and Netflix and you're having that glass of wine because you just won't want to think about the day, I want you to reconsider those activities. Because this is the one thing that I wish I did sooner. And I was told this by my mom, like, why are you drinking? Stop drinking. Like, it's stupid. Don't do it. she came at it to me from a different perspective, which really triggered me. She would always say like, drinking is not ladylike. And I'm like, Mom, stop telling me what to do. Ew. Like truly, like that's how it was for me, kind of like in my 20s. But now that I've learned, it's like the reason why I shouldn't drink alcohol or do heavy drugs or just like party and numb out with food or Netflix and all this stuff is because I gained much more clarity in my life. I started feeling good. My vibration was higher. You are a different energy when you are not doing those things. That's pretty obvious. But if you think about it, if you're on this trajectory to wanting to change your life, but you're spending every single night on the couch, numbing out with TV, food, alcohol, or on the weekends, you go out and you party and you drink. And of course, there's a time and place for all these things. But if you're doing this on a consistent basis, you're then the next day feeling hungover, you're feeling like shit, you're not doing your morning routine, you're definitely not hitting the gym, right? So when you're participating in these activities, it affects everything else. And then all of a sudden you'll realize, oh my gosh, if you take inventory of all the days and nights that you've done it, it's kind of disgusting because you're like, wow, I wasted so much time doing these things, feeling this way, treating my body this way. Your body is a temple, right? And I'm not shaming anyone for doing any of these things. Shit, I used to do it all the time, all the time, all the time. It's not until very recently, I think in the last year and a half, I've cut down on drinking significantly. I'm honestly, like maybe one drink a month. And it is so rare for me now. And I feel so good. I'm so empowered. And actually, a lot of my friends now don't drink either. And that, of course, makes it easier because we have things in common. We go to nice dinners. We have nice hangouts. We go on the boat and all this sort of stuff. And it doesn't revolve around alcohol use. It revolves around really deep and beautiful conversations and experiences. Because the one thing that really started driving me crazy, and my fiance, Mark, would say this all the time, he's actually sober completely. So that's, of course, also helped me step into my quote unquote, like sobriety or limit my drinking. But the one thing that he would say is like, you know, what really bothers me about going out and going to these parties and drinking is, you know, I would have deep conversations with people that I would remember, but they would all forget. And that's what happens, right? Like how many nights do you not remember the conversations that you had? And you had these deep conversations, right? And it's just not fun. So I want you to think about the next time you even remotely think about going out to drink. If you can, suggest something different to your friends. And I know that it is hard. I know, because I went through that period where I felt uncomfortable going out without drinking. It was weird, right? I didn't have something to hold in my hand. Isn't it crazy? We create this habit about going out and having our drink in our hands. And I know how hard it is. But I promise you, even if you just limit, like maybe if you are drinking 5 nights a week, maybe take a night off. Or if you go out and party every single weekend, maybe for once, instead of saying yes to going out, say no, stay home and work on yourself. Because the only way things are going to change in your life is if you start removing these lower level frequency activities and the people that you hang out with. And you know what? In a lot of cases, by you taking this action step and becoming a leader in this change, especially in your friend group, 2 things are going to happen. 1, your friends are going to fall away from you. And honestly, good. Because they weren't going with you anyway. Or 2, you inspire them to change too. And maybe you become accountability buddies. Because a lot of times stepping out of what's normal or what's the routine, especially with a friend group, that's hard, right? Because you're like the only one. But sometimes everyone else is too afraid to take that step. And by you taking that step, you then inspire them to take that step. And then you can all grow and evolve together. So those are all of my biggest tips. And I know there is way more, but I know that this is a really good start for you to take at least one of these things that I mentioned today and incorporate it into your life and start stepping into and becoming that woman that you want to be. You have the power to create your reality. You have the power and you can 100% absolutely Live the life that you desire. Nothing is impossible. If someone else has done it, so can you. But it starts with you. It starts with your daily actions. It starts with your daily thoughts. It starts with that commitment to yourself. That's the least that you can do. Commit. So right now, I want you to take a screenshot of this podcast. I want you to post it on Instagram. I want you to tag Money, Mindset, and Manicures. And I want you to tag I am Samantha Kazuch so I see it. And I want you to say, I am committed, and list one of the things that you heard on this podcast that you are going to do. Okay? Because once we verbalize it, once we actually say what we're going to do, it's much easier to start taking action. But if you just sit here and listen to this podcast or walk or drive while listening, and you just go on with your day and nothing changes, guess what? Nothing changes. Nothing changes. So I know that you just listened to this podcast because you want to change. You have that desire to change. So join me in this commitment to changing. I love you so much. Thank you for listening. And again, don't forget to leave a review if you found this podcast helpful. And I'll see you in the next episode.